What this is? It's a picture, I know. Yeah, but as it's taken from Banu's interest is actually taken from Apple phone, iPhone. This is actually the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and it obviously connects. Yeah, yeah. It looks gold for people who the golden people. So, so it connects. It's a suspension bridge. That's a specialty. So Ryan and Jim can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm saying anything wrong. It's a suspension bridge, and it connects basically the mainland to the bay, the land out. The importance of that bridge, why I took the picture of that is it's actually very important. One side, we have the expertise, knowledge, and the both learning knowledge, learning domain, as well as the expertise of how to build education product. And on the other hand, we have newest technologies and real good, cool kind of bunch of people who think newly from past point of view, new learning platform, all of that. So that bridging actually bridge the two lands. And it's our role. That's the reason I said there is no route other than the ferry previously before this bridge was built. Now there is a route already. So similarly, we have created our route. We have already started bridging, and I'm really, really happy that our team has been very crucial and playing a very important role in all aspects. Engineering, from the cloud ops point of view, from the operations, from quality, architecture, and also getting PMO. So it's really, really important roles that we are playing, and we are bridging now. Why we are bridging? Number one is because we promised that our teams, the value and the knowledge we have, we bring, we'll surface. When Albert was here, we talked about it loud and clear, and he recognized. And our duty, myself and Dennis' duty, was basically making sure that we connect the dots. And that is why I call, even my role, is basically facilitator now, 2018. Facilitating both Cedric's, Thomas' world versus the world here, which is really big to explore. So we are the bridge. We have everything, and this location, as we said many a times, engineering, quality, product, architecture, tech ops, operations, now all 24/7 operations, centrally. And no other location has this advantage. So we are very privileged to have that bridging part. Here's two important players from the Cedric's world. Not that others are not important, but new and important. They're new. The one on the top is Thomas Fontaine. In fact, it's Chamit's new reporting lines. And the second one is Dominic, who has been here, who's driving Karanjan and optimization of the teams and resources. So they play a vital role and working very closely with us. And Dominic, from last week, took over PLA, console, all the next generation platforms from Yao. So he's very crucial working with us. We are very important. For us, it's very important we work with him very closely. Some of the things from Dennis and myself visit in San Francisco. I just want to bring these ones. Is not to show you that, nothing to show that our cameras work. Is actually to show you that we have been there and represented you in a very, very vital way to make sure your knowledge is used really important way in our future, in our pathway. We had GLP and collaboration with Thomas and Andrew. Thomas actually is the technology VP who's on this. And actually, Andrew, I don't have a picture. Hopefully, he'll come soon. He's the one who's driving the delivery and the finance side for GLP. So those two VPs, we had a number of conversations around the engagement, going forward, what we do, how we architect, how we get operations support. So as a result of that, I've got connected Ryan into that because it's not that Ryan didn't know them, but it's actually right time for us to involve now before his handover to support. So we started a number of things. And then architecture community. There are 4 main architects from Pearson. We met them, we talked with them, connected with the Noida team. When I say Noida, it's basically the new team that's coming up with from Sanjeeva's and Chamit's point of view. And then we discussed about Dennis and myself and Thomas, colo timing. So we said last time we are planning for a co-location. The great news is we are still on the plan. Still, we are tracking that. The dates are probably towards the Q2, mid to end Q2. The reason being, the current Rio release is up for kind of going for the production as a pilot. It's very late for us to engage in that. Not except few things like cloud ops and few people have already engaged, but for the rest of the development and quality and architecture, it may not be ideal time for us to augment. And remember, our role is basically bridging and making it a full team. It's not that we are trying to take part of that or not. It's not our role. Our role is making sure that we augment, we grow together, and use our knowledge. And I'm coming to a very important point during this day. We have been communicating and working together. I'll come to that later. And also, I had privilege to attend Albert's Town Hall, Technology Town Hall in San Francisco. It was clearly evident that we have the basically global learning platform, I would say orchestration or the central part, but there is a part around it that uses grading, assignment, access, authentication, all of those services, organization, institute, all of these services around it. And those are called enabling services. And the point is that we discussed how important to manage these candidates, the dependencies. We call them dependencies, we call them candidates, we call them enabling number of names, but whatever it is, apart from the core GLP engine, all the things around it, we build, really playing a big role in deploying GLP into the pilot and beyond pilot. So that is one thing came out very clearly in Albert's Town Hall, how big and how vital our role is. Not just us, everyone in Pearson from technology point of view. It's just not that small GLP team. And finally, we talked about Noida engagement. We've got direct already in. We've got engineering very soon, some principals getting involved full time. You may not know. So even though that we are saying our co-location is starting in sometimes in June, we already started, kicked off our teams enabling and engaging and augmenting. And that's happening as we speak. And Cloud Ops is also already there, right? 2 or 3 people already. So it's all happening. So what we said beginning of the year, when Albert is here, it's happening. Just want to make sure that you understand. Okay. Right. So this is actually coming, did I? You see that the President of North America, and next one is a very important guy next to him. The reason I put that is not, again, to show just a picture, but I had, again, a real small, a little bit of window of time that Albert introduced him, and that gave me the impression how important we are. Not only that, how important for us to make sure stable and consistent service, Ryan, because we have to make sure learners are not by any chance failing in terms of support or delivery. Once introduced, we had a chat about very long discussion in short. My question to him was, how important Sri Lanka? And he said he's doing a tremendous job, and over the years, the millions of dollars. And I said, because there was a question on the town hall about diversity and inclusion. So after the town hall, I met, obviously. So I asked, did you hear the town hall, the diversity and inclusion question? And that talks about women in leadership, how we involve different locations. He said, yes. And I said, if that is true, what is the D&I strategy for Sri Lanka? Because you have never visited us. Are we part of your plans? So Tim Bosick took a pause for about 10 seconds. Obviously, didn't expect that kind of question. But response was brilliant. He said, I'm going to talk to you. And then after a few days, we exchanged few emails, and I was in London, and he sent me this email. I put it because he asked me to tell you. And I thought I should not tell you. I show you what he says. I hope that every one of you can read, but for everyone's clarity, I'm going close to that. Apologies for a long time delay in responding, and I was in California meetings and digging out of the email backlog. I'm the, thanks for the picture which I shared with him. Enjoyed seeing you in Francisco and really appreciate what you and your team And please tell them that I hope I can do my long due visit to Sri Lanka. And he's planning most likely with Albert in this year. So it's a great news because he recognized as the global president for product engineering. Actually, he's not North America anymore. He's global engineering product development the president. He recognizes how important your role is. So once again, on behalf of Team Bozic, thank you so much for the splendid job you guys have done over the years. Okay, that works. Yeah, so this is actually I hope you see a familiar face there. I captured him. If you don't know, he's Dennis Stetzer. He's actually working in San Francisco office, and I somehow going around. He was not really facing the camera, so I somehow called him and took a picture. That's why he's all of a sudden in a picture. You know, he didn't expect that. So just the reason I put that was not in Denver, but while Dennis was in San Francisco, he talked number of topics about bite size, involvement on bite size, basically Chris Jackson's and Sanjeeva's teams. He engaged with the people around technology and delivery to work out the strategy. So one thing that at this point is really critical, the discussion Ryan we had and has been having for some time, but as a strategy how we go forward. So without me explaining, I think that bullet number 1 has a big kind of a big vocabulary and a lot of explanations. I'll let Ryan do that part.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Perfect. So thank you, Anura. Appreciate the opportunity. Glad to be here. I came once in 2016, had a long hiatus, 2017 back in 2018, and please do understand from the deepest reaches of my heart, I'm not going to take that big of a delay again, right? Every time I come here, I'm absolutely blown away by the quality and the capability of you as a team. I would say that there are very few teams across the entirety of Pearson that have as much drive and as much heart and passion about our customers and our learners as you guys do. So thank you for that. It's absolutely fantastic. As John Fallon gets ready to guide this company through the next few years, he has to periodically present us as leaders with challenges, right? And those challenges may come in the form of cost cutting, operational efficiencies, and other things. I was handed a requirement from Ian McEwen to contribute ideas to how we move this company forward and spend the money and utilize the investments that we have as a company as best we possibly can. One of the primary areas that came up was really regarding our Operations Command Center, our OCC, right? It is absolutely the heart and soul of our ability from a technical world to understand what's going on in our products, both from monitoring alerts and from interactions with customer service. So Renee Yoakum and Amy Johnston's world. And as I sat back and reflected on how I can help the company move forward, one of the best possible solutions was to move that function in its entirety to Sri Lanka. So pleased to announce that we're going to move the OCC Center. Some of you probably already know this. We're going to decommission the OCC in Denver. Those team members, despite their amazing contribution over the years and the work that they have done, those roles will be decommissioned and moved full-time to Sri Lanka. It's a testament, you guys, to Shaq, to Banu, to Anura, and everybody else here, the capabilities that you have, that I can theoretically effortlessly ask this of this organization, and you guys can help me and make sure it comes together as a reality. So again, it's nothing to do with poor performance or bad contribution of the team members in Denver. It's just my opportunity to contribute to how we keep this company healthy in the long term financially. So you know, huge gratitude not only to the OCC and OTS, but also I want to continue to build on what Anura was talking about in terms of this overall group's role in the future of GLP and some of the other products. I I have had a lot of opportunity over the last few months to examine the interaction of Global Logic, to look at the forward progress of the products that they are building on top of the platform being created by some very capable teams within Pearson. And I got to tell you, universally, every time I turn a corner or I'm presented with a challenge I don't understand about how they're proceeding, I am reminded about all the talent and the capability and the work that these teams have done for years and years. And I continue to ask myself, we need to find a way to get Sri Lanka more and more involved in the new global learning platform. So without a doubt, you can ask Bimal, you can ask Dilip, any of some of the engineering managers as I've had my conversations while I've been here this week. One of the things I want to understand is, how do we all believe we can work together between tech ops, between QE, between development, between PMO, or what was PMO? I know that's been kind of changed a little bit. How can we all work together to ensure that the right product is ending up in front of our learners and educators in the future, right? And I think it's going to take the contribution of all of us working together to make sure that happens. So I'm a huge fan of the team here. Like I said, my visits have been long overdue. I'll be sure to be here more often in the future as we continue to build out the role and the capability with the OCC. But also, quite frankly, to build a path in the future where all of these teams can contribute to GLP. So happy to be a part of it. Thank you so much for the time. And Nura, I'll hand it back to you.
I think that deserves much higher applause than that. The number one is that the trust that Ryan has kept on this team, and that also raised the bar of our accountability and responsibility. And I think the other thing is, Ryan, you are now accountable to visit more. Hope you have your travel plan now.
We'll make it happen.
Three accountabilities: us, how much you trust, and how much we need to deliver, and how much you need to visit us, because basically involved and engaging with you. So I think, guys, this is the reality. We need to understand 2018 is all about, not about growing the numbers, but making best out of our teams and engaging with the right way. It's just not because we all in Sri Lanka, but importantly, we have a bigger role to play. We need to understand our role is for Pearson. So in doing that, we have a number of opportunities, I would say enormous and very unique opportunities. And whether you want to take it or not is all to us. So what I can tell you, my level is, Ryan, we will not let you down. So just finishing off that, so there's a lot of involvement. So I think what we are right now doing in terms of GLPs, get Ryan's and this team involved really heavily at this stage of, so this I've been discussing, Sanjeev, with even Chamit. So Roshan, I've been discussing this earlier. So we need to get all of these teams, including the operations support, involved, because when it goes pilot and beyond that, we cannot have a situation we don't know how to manage that. We can't say we don't have alerting, we don't have monitoring. We have to make sure that happens. And this team is an important team on the bottom, which is the rapid response team over the years. There's a small shrink team now, 1, 2, 3, 4 members. And they actually deliver most of the current gen platforms today. They support during our daytime, our night, and keeping it calm and quiet in terms of incidents. So the reason I brought them was they hardly been in any picture. They're unseen and untalked. I thought we should surface them, and thanks to that team as well. So there are two other things, a few things on the Sri Lankan status we reviewed in London, and we looked at metrics and KPI reporting. So we have already started new metrics reporting. All the HODs know that we have looked at number of common GBTS metrics around GBTS, Sri Lanka or US or India. We look at the same way now. That we reviewed that, the list of things. One of the most important things for this year is getting BCP resilience. So we discussed that. And right now, Isuru, Shakir, there's a team working on getting us pre-qualified for 22301 ISO certification pre-audit, not the audit, pre-audit, to get us certified for ISO in the next year, probably, at least, beginning of next year. The reason is, again, twofold. We are the first proactive location, get that, and the reason for that is, again, 24/7 from Brian and Rod, both are here. There's no other reason that tells us better why we need to be having the best BCP. For your clarity, we have 4 BCP places, Banu, if I'm calling it out correctly. So we have number 1, primary as the WTC or the secondary location that we are choosing. And then second one is vendor location, JK. Third one is the hotel that we are looking at, or not looking at, we have been talking to. And the fourth one is out of the country. So we have already, but we have tested beginning of this year, as you may or may not know. We've tested enabling services, part of the enabling services, shifting to DR for a week. We did that test as well. So similarly, we are now shifting and failing over and all of that while we are documenting our process and the events so that we are really ready for the real audit. Compliance and risk, we discussed about the location as well as the people and the families. By the way, there was a great success. I did not pick any pictures from Mahesh's team, that we had a great cricket match participation. And I have seen the photos. Unfortunately, I could not participate. But as that, again, actually opened eyes of many people, how this team is responsible for responding to a big event. And also, as a result of that, we had, I will have to look at numbers, statistics. Mahesh, what was the follower increase percentage? 900% increase. I mean, if you really go by numbers, I don't know what that numbers means. And we had hit rate of 350% hit rate. So we have increased, I mean, there are a number of statistics we looked at on social sites and media. We've been really on, after that point, really gaining a lot of attraction by the industry. The GRE, so one of the important things you guys are waiting is about what's happening. So I'll give you an update. We talked, myself and Dennis, and then Mahesh joined from this center, talked about our GRE, global real estate situation, and where our location. And also we discussed also on communications. We've got a communications channel now. Events happening here will be leveraged to the corporate communications and the events. By the way, the one in the middle is Arabelle, who's Eddie's HR partner, and Albert is on the other top one. I think this comes to the end. You have seen John's visit, so I took a picture in case someone has not seen this picture. So this is about, I can't remember exactly, Ryan, it's what, 120, was it? Some number like that. All the SVPs and above, they met in San Francisco the same week we were there. They met up in Berkeley and discussed about their strategy and few things. You can see the Neo. And I took that picture because, one is that because obviously it has Ian and Eddie, and of course Cedric. And I think Cedric was sick on that day. He was sick on that day, I can remember. But we have Ian and Eddie. Eddie on, I spot him here. Yeah. And then we had very important players of Pearson, the whole future. And that was a meeting that discussed, and I think you've seen the videos about it, our plans after that, about our restructuring, all of that. So I thought should put that one and finally summarize. In summary, the visit that we did, Dennis and myself, it was helping Sri Lanka to involve and also confirm our involvement. Enabling services, as I said, if anyone asks me now, when are we involving in GLP, I'm telling you most of you are already involved. Those who are in socket, those who are in access, those who are now developing the services and getting DDA type of thing, most of you are now part of the GLP. Actually, those who are not, we have plans to get you involved. So because, like I said, the GLP is now the orchestration engine in the central, and there are enabling services around it, which are called dependencies. So most of you involved is a matter of time you realize that your deliverables are basically leveraged to that. And some of the things like ILP, even Socket, 3PL, they have started GLP path of branch now already. So it's if your question is when are we are already. GRE discussions on real estate, so we have got a secondary location, and the plan is we have got the concept approval by PEM, Pearson Executive Management Team last week. So we expect our final financial and the technology approval by Q2 end, and we'll have our people shifted around about end of the year. I put it with a contingency, but I think October, November timeframe. But for your years, it's end of the year. Otherwise, don't come and ask, how are you going in August? So it's end of the year. So if we go early, that will be good. So that's our secondary location. ASR AP cycles finished. I know you had a lot of concerns. In the first town hall itself, I addressed in February 16th that we've got a limited pot to deal with. And also we looked at most deserving cases in terms of the bans and all. I'm happy to say that we took care of some of the cases that we really need to keep an eye and make sure that we need to bring them up to the standard. So, and AIP-wise, I think compared to all the last years, this year has been really good because we overachieved our target. Nevertheless, the target was a little less, somewhat less, but we achieved it very well. So John announced in his town hall in San Francisco that I can tell you that I'm giving the 100% of the pot. How you distribute is up to the president. So followed by that 2 days time, we got it, and I'm really happy that we got, for many years, after many years, a very good percentage coming out. OCC 24/7, he summarized. BCP and HS, very critical factors for us. Structure changes. So one of the things, messages coming from John Fallon is that we'll be looking at in the OAK plan, we are looking at restructuring. So this is not a joke, because even though we are not heavily impacted here, like Ryan said, some of the teams work with you many years, day in, day out, coffee, lunch, and all of them, they are impacted. Their families, their lives. It's a time that we need to take very, very sensitive way communication and how we tackle. Although that's a growth opportunity for us, it's a shrink opportunity for them, right? It is a bad way to say that, but it's actually real. They're not in a happy moment. So we have to be extremely cautious and careful in our communications, how we deal with them. Number one. Number two, we need to accept there are changes going forward we may need to have to do. And we are actually talking about how we want to move forward with the growth in here, what's the leadership we require and all of that. So there are a few things that we are doing right now. But again, reiterating the fact that we have to deal with this very carefully and very cautiously, because some of our friends are leaving and their families are impacted. So please take that really seriously when you talk to your colleagues and how you deal with them in communication. Finally, the audit exercise for Q3 is Q3. We are doing a full operation audit this year, just to let you know. And probably one thing missing here is that I'm planning to send an engagement survey responses to see how we reacted to the ones that you reported in 2016. During 2017, we changed a few things, how we communicate, the openness, what we happen and all of that. You can see a lot of things here as well. What is coming up and what's happening. Some of the promises you guys asked was that tell us what's going on in the world, when are we involved in GLP and all of that. So would like to see a kind of survey done and see what your responses are on those. With that note, I'm finishing and opening up for questions. I think, Amal, you may read out the questions. If you ask questions, the audience can. I think Amal is telling us there are questions coming up.
So there are questions coming up. One of the questions that were directed to Ryan. So it says, last year you were able to run a massively successful program to make sure our production state is stable. And we have reduced the major incidents drastically thanks to this. What is your vision and mechanism to use the learning of that program to fix the issues in the future?
That's a fantastic question. And I don't hesitate to make sure everybody understands it wasn't just SO&C that drove down major incidents. That was a group effort by a lot of folks in these rooms here today across the world, right? So you all should Pat yourselves on the back for that accomplishment. It was, by the way, 67% reduction major incidents, so just you make sure you all remember that. That was good. What we think the vision is in the future is the following. We can, as I like to say, we can chase an ambulance all day long. In other words, we can show up at the scene of a building burning, or a building that's on fire, burning, go in there with great capability and put it out quickly, right? And that's effectively a lot of what was done in 2017. We changed how quickly we could react to problems, and we did a fair amount of work, quite honestly, in shoring up capability in existing products to make sure they were more stable. In 2018 and beyond, what we noticed, however, is that those patterns, all the things that we learned, weren't regularly or accurately reflected in our product creation capabilities. And I don't want to necessarily, I'm not pinpointing anybody particular in this room, but what we found is the PCF process, as it went through its various gates, didn't regularly stop to understand whether or not the product or the change that was being pushed through the value stream was looking at operational effectiveness or operational stability as a regular set of constraints. So the 2018 program instead actually now is spending less time worried about manipulating products that are already in production, and we're trying to go change our relationship with what was the PMO and the PCF, effectively the Scaled Agile framework, to ensure that we're building in all of that capability from the beginning, from the get-go, right? That products and tools and capabilities end up in production with the right set of support teams wrapped around them, with the right set of monitoring, and with the right user journeys thoroughly documented and understood, with the right support models and teams in place, with the right automation for failover and other things, right? So that we stand the best chance from the beginning of ensuring that mainly, and to kind of put a point on it, mainly that GLP learns from all the capability that we understood and dealt with in 2017. So that's the future. To sum it all up in one kind of elevator pitch, what I tell Albert, the reason why it's so valuable that he spent the money that he has on operational stability is we want to have a positive effect on how Pearson builds tools. We want to bring not necessarily wonderful function to our users, but we want to bring great warranty aspects to our users as well. Things like availability, capacity, stability, all those things. So that's the vision. That's where we're taking 2018. Where it goes from there, if we do our jobs right, we simply create not necessarily the new way of working, it's just the way we work, right? We build the right necessary processes, and we propagate or promote that type of product building from now and forever. So, yeah, good question.
Thank you, Ryan. There's another question. I think this is directed at Anura. Due to increased taxes by the Sri Lankan government and the rapid inflation, will allowance and salaries be revisited?
Can you read the question? Oh, I can read. Can you answer the question? I think I will give a very firm and a direct answer to that rather than going around. So the simple answer I can give you is that we have been very challenging, we have been doing great, and this is and all of that. But I think the straightforward, firm answer to that question is that I can tell you, despite the fact that we had some hiccups initially on the SR, we took care of some critical areas where we looked at the market and we looked at that and we adjusted. That's number one. Number two is we have already received the /com report, and we used that primarily all the years as a report. So we looked at and make sure that there is no, actually that also helps us to make some critical adjustments. And we are continue to do that. Number three, we are, I'm engaging Satya to get some independent report as well from a world famous company who does this, their job is doing these kind of things. So I can mention the name, it's Mercer. So you would have heard that company, and trying to get them is actually the price is very high. My question is whether we should spend that. Maybe we have to reduce salaries next year further. I mean, seriously, no, not joking. But their prices are high, so we need to negotiate that. But we're not taking it. I told Eddie last week in my one-on-one. Eddie asked me why you have already won. I said I have already won. That is coming from Glasscom, but it will be good that we get an independent report so that there is no biasness or there is no. We'll take the local flavor out. So that's number 3. Number 4, as we used to do, continue to look at this. And last year we did these band increases and adjustments, and we did this year another part. So we'll continue to do that as much as we can do. Coming to the question of the tax, I just said the background so that you're not now confused. We asked a tax question, he's talking about something else. No, I just brought to the background to that. The tax increased, and to be honest, it's a universal Sri Lankan tax system change. And if you remember, the tax system went from 24 to 16. I mean, not jokingly, but we never asked to reduce our kind of salaries to match the take home. But we actually took the advantage. So it's a national level tax change. To respond to that, we had looked at, for actually calculation purposes, a huge change overall we need to do. And every company is now receiving the adverse effect of this tax system, I agree. But I can tell you, reiterate the fact that we are not trying to fix the tax problem, rate problem. However, we are trying to fix the gaps we have. That's the right thing to do, despite the tax system's change or not. So we have looked at that, and we are also looking at from independent view. So at the moment, I have no directions or funds to fix that, but I can tell you I have funds and the directions to look at broader level, compare us independently and see where we are and to take necessary actions. I wanted to give you a direct and a transparent, fair answer rather than giving you, story. Yes, we will be looking at it. We are, so not that we are not aware, we are fully aware. I actually highlight this to my leadership, Eddie as well as Dennis, and we are fully aware that we need to really look at that. So the way we want to look at is that compare and see where we are. I hope that gives a long, but I think deeper answer than saying, yes, we will be looking into that in the next few months. I hope that you guys appreciate it.
All the online questions.
Okay. Any non-online questions? Offline may not be the word. Any questions? We have got 13 and a half minutes left. I think you are in WTC. If you have any questions, you can ask on the, I don't know whether they hear the audio, we hear the audio, but you could probably put in the hang out with Amal, or you could ask or text any one of us whether that they are already. Let me check. Question? Okay, there's a delay coming. Okay, there's a delay in. So they must be still hearing the tax system answer. Yeah. So I think. I'm watching this, so I haven't got any question. So we wait for a minute, and if that is not, then we'll have to wind up so that we save 10 minutes of everyone. There's a question, Gabe? Okay, so from WTC. Okay, so So I think with that, probably, I'm just looking at this, nothing is here, but one last thing to mention, there will be a number of training happening in terms of upskilling for GLP skill set. We did the first form of that last week or the week before, I can't remember maybe. And none of the people who ran that is here last week, I guess, for 20 odd numbers. So there'll be number of things like that in parallel happening, basically upskilling you to the next, last week, was it last week, Bima? Week before last week, yeah. So there'll be number of more number of sessions happen. If you're not, if you're really interested, other than, so you can talk to Bimal or his team, so that you can get yourself upskilled to GLP skills, because we need you to work on front-ending and front-end and database type of skills. Done?
Listen, thanks to everybody for coming. Appreciate it. Again, I'm a big fan. I appreciate all the hard work. You guys are a core part of what's going on here. So thanks for the hospitality. Thanks for being such gracious hosts. And you're going to see more of me regularly here. So look out for the guy with the red beard coming around more often. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan, one more time for being with us. And there's only one more item for Subuki to do. Without further ado, I hand over. Thank you so much, guys. Talk to us directly. Email anything on ITBMO email address. Or you can meet any of my directs directly, or me anytime. Grab when you have any question, anything, confused, GLP, industry, anything. Please do not hesitate. We are more than happy, and we are there to help you, and we are there to serve you. Thank you.
Thanks, Andhra. So this is not a surprise. The winners were announced a few weeks ago. So what we're going to do is the award ceremony. To start things off, we're going to give the prize to the winning logo entry, which you see up there. And can I invite Banu, please, to come out to give this award? And the winner is Lankika Vijayavardhan. Yeah, that's for the logo. Okay. So the first prize category, we have best use of technology. Can I have the team up, please? Randika, Matisha, Harshita, and Dinu, please. Is your team? Stay. Harshita. Harshita. Thank you. Can I have Inoka, please? Right. The next category of winners is for Best UX. Can I have Nuan, Kasun, Dilshan, and Chamin, please? Bimal, can I have the winners of the Best AI Machine Learning Award, please? Andrew, Jalia, Dedunu, and Dilshan. So, okay, just keep them. They have the WTC soon. And one more. And then we had 2 product stream winners. Can I have the first team, please? Dinuka, Deshal, Geeta, and Jayani, please. Jayani. Deshal. Geeta. Okay, we give the stick. Okay. Yes. Sanjeeva, Senarat. So can I have the winners of the second product stream, please? Dulmini, Asanga, Sarani, and Shashit. The others are not here, right? Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for participating in this event and making it a success, and hope to see your continued involvement in the future. Thank you.
Winners are